Welcome to the Fuzzy Loaf podcast, where we talk about what's going on in news and pop culture. I'm Scott, that's Matt. And we got Ben Cannon with us today.
Hello.
Woo! Talking about Pokemon. It's like all Pokemon episode because we didn't talk about it last week because we couldn't get Ben on the show, but he's here on a special Thursday night recording.
I'm so glad that I got to do this.
We had to have you because there's too much info for it to just be me and Matt. We needed someone else to get another opinion who knows Pokemon really well to like bounce off of. And
it's an honor.
I mean, Ben couldn't be here last week because he was actually hosting a Pokemon tournament. Last week.
Yeah, I was all excited to come talk about Pokemon, and then I forgot I was getting together with a bunch of my friends to play Pokemon.
Well, okay. So last Monday, we had a huge trailer reveal of like new Pokemon and a ton of information and stuff. And then we got another trailer with some Korokoro leaks this week, and it's like fucking insane. And then there was a Chinese leak that had possible final forms for the starters with a bunch of info that has slowly been confirmed. So
were you able to find that?
I found a Kotaku article that has a list of the stuff that they leaked out.
Okay.
So I can check off what's been confirmed and what hasn't. Ben, is there any aspect of all of this craziness that we want to get into first? Because we've got to break this down some way.
Let's start with that leak, because that came out a while back, and then we can kind of go through chronologically what's come out.
Yeah. So, cause I'm just gonna read this this thing from the Kotaku article. It said, Pokemon Jungle reported in early July that there was a Chinese leak of Pokemon Sun and Moon, and claimed all sorts of things that was translated by a Smogon user. And so this is like a checklist of the stuff that was in the leak. There would be no traditional gyms. The starters would evolve into an Archer, Wrestler, and Siren, which if you look at. But diamonds, which function somewhat like Megastones, could cause Pokemon to transform in some way. New monsters would take after a dolphin, snowman, and a sea cucumber, and there would also be a football monkey.
What does that mean?
Find out. Different areas in the game would have special strong Pokemon known as Overlords, and there would be a fire poison type monster reveal.
Okay, sorry, can we start back at the beginning? What was the first one?
The first one was there would be no traditional gyms.
Do we know if that's for sure yet?
We don't know for sure,
but
there's 4 distinct, I forget what they called them.
They're trial captains.
Yeah.
Trial captains, and then the kahunas are after the trial captains.
And I was really curious when I found out about that, if that would be in addition to the standard gym format.
It seems like this is replacing the standard gym format because the trial captains have types of Pokemon that they specialize in.
Because that could be really interesting, because the format of these games, as much as the last couple generations they've added like new ways of battling and mega forms and all kinds of stuff, I would be really intrigued to see them just divert from that standard 8 gym Elite Four, like that regular series of events that has been pretty much present every time.
Yeah.
So I'm curious if that'll actually be what that is.
I'm guessing they will, because the way the 4 that they showed, they do have a certain type that they specialize in, just like gym leaders, and it seems really they like make you do like almost like side quest type things instead of just battling. Basically, the Orange Islands. We're kind of getting the Orange Islands with this generation.
That could be cool.
Yeah, it's like I don't understand the Kahuna part. So you battle you face the trial captain, and then you take on a Kahuna later. And then there's the
Kahuna is where you learn the dances.
Is it?
Yeah.
For the Z moves?
Yeah, because that's what they said in the trailer.
Oh, this is so weird. It's kind of getting crazy. Some people were kind of getting bored with the gym format, I know of, but like I didn't have any problem with gyms. I've always liked the gyms.
See, I don't know if I was bored with the gym format in and of itself. I was sort of... I've always just felt like I would like a little more variety, a little more options, because the thing I enjoy doing most is breeding. And like when I watched the cartoon, I always really liked like Brock's idea of like becoming a breeder and getting really good at that. And like the idea that you could do all kinds of different things with Pokemon in the world always really intrigued me. But in the games, all you get to do is this one thing, basically.
Right.
The contests were a little bit of a change, but those
they weren't that exciting.
Yeah, and you can progress in the ranks and everything, but there's not really much of a story attached to it. You're still going to all the gyms and beating the Elite Four and everything. So I'm really interested to see if they do just go another direction with it, or if it's just the same thing with different names.
You could have this. They could have other things too, and. I kind of want there to still be an Elite Four and a champion.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Well, that's kind of what this sounds like. Like there's 4 main people like the trainers.
Right, but those are the gym leaders.
Yeah.
I want there to also be a Pokemon League in this game too.
Yeah, we'll see. There might be.
There's got to be some kind of high level like trainer that you battle. But okay, so that was the first one. Was the no traditional gyms, which is kind of confirmed in a way. It's basically, but slightly. So the second thing was the starters would evolve into an archer, wrestler, and a siren, which they provide concept art in here that shows that. Which we're not sure if the concept art is real, but it's kind of confirming a lot of things. Also, one of the trial captains can be seen in this concept art.
Oh yeah,
that was released before that trailer was released. So people are thinking that kind of makes the concept art more valid.
See, I love the designs of all 3 of those, but I am worried that we're getting another firefighting.
What? Why do they love firefighting so much?
No, it's just not that interesting anymore. And like I have no problem with that type combination in a vacuum, but like I don't want that many starters to be that same combo.
I'm hoping based off its look, don't mean to genderize it, it can be either one. That it could be Fire Dark.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were able to get the picture.
Yeah, and it does just look like a wrestler though.
He does look like a wrestler,
and there's in a world where we have Sudowoodo and like I'm blanking on the name of that fish that got revealed. That's like a psychic type, the one with the lips. Like
I don't know its name. It's too complicated.
Yeah, not every Pokemon looks like its type necessarily. So that's fine.
Yeah,
but yeah, it just seems like an odd choice.
You see a Pokemon that looks like a wrestler, you assume. I mean, I don't have any problem with the firefighting combo. it's been so overused. You've got Blaziken. It was 3 in a row. I think it was the 3 in a row that really did it in.
Half of the generations, the fire starter evolves into a fighting type.
Right. We had Blaziken at first was like, oh, cool, Blaziken. And then they did Infernape, and everyone was like, okay, well, I mean, it's not so bad, I guess. And then with Emboar, everyone's like, okay, stop. And then they switched it up with Gen 6, so like Fire Psychic, and everyone's like,
all the type combos in 6th Gen were great.
Yeah.
I love all 3
because they all were double effective against whatever they were strong against.
Yeah, and they were just interesting choices. Like I love them all.
I liked the Gen 4 combos because, I mean, firefighting, whatever, but you had Torterra, which was grass ground, and then Empoleon, water steel. I'm like, okay, that's a cool change up.
Yeah, the only thing with that was then, is it all 3 of the secondary types are then super effective against the opposite one? Because
because fighting beats steel. Steel is strong against. Well, it's more resistant to grass. I don't think it's like super effective. Then you have ground, which is super effective against fire. So they all kind of like balance each other out better, which I thought was cool. It's like, at first they're all super effective, but then once they're fully evolved, they're more neutral.
Yeah. But yeah, what was next on the thing there? Well,
I mean, what do you think of you've looked at these?
Yeah.
Right? What do you think of the 3 starter concepts? Besides if Litten's form is this, I'm picking Litten. That's what I said. I'm choosing it because I didn't like Litten at first. I was like, oh, stupid Fire Cat. I don't care.
See, I love that name though.
Yeah, I do too. And I love Litten's design. I really like the way that it looks.
If this is its final form, I'm choosing Litten.
Yeah.
See, this might be the first time that I choose grass type.
See, I always change it up. I always go. I don't just choose the same type every time. I always choose whatever one I think looks the coolest. But the grass is in second place for me because that is a cool archer.
I love the design of that one.
He's even got like a grass hood, and obviously going to be grass flying. If it's not, that'd be stupid because Rowlet is a grass flying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say the first evolution is a grass flying as well. So
And then you've got this like Siren Mermaid type.
I don't like this
that-
seal design.
I-
I'm not a big fan of it.
I liked Poplio. Everyone was shitting on it online. I was like, Poplio looks cool. This I'm not like too into, but
See,
I also don't really have too much of a problem with it either.
I like this one more than I like Poplio, but
That's
like
what other people's opinions are. That's what they make a comment about that in the article. Like, well, at least Poplio got a better design than it's right. But for me, it's like the inverse.
yeah, I'm still not real attached to it.
I think
regardless.
if this final water form had a secondary type, my guess is it would be fairy.
Yeah,
I don't know what else it would be.
I can see that.
Interesting. I was gonna say the overdone ones are water steel and then water ice.
Right.
Yeah, so I'd like to see a little variation, and you know, even though they went back and changed several of them to fairy types, fairy is still a pretty small group of Pokemon.
When fairy was first introduced, I kind of didn't like it because I didn't like the retcon of a lot of Pokemon. I was like, but now you're. I was like, fairy's fine. I'm fine that you're adding another type, but I didn't like that they were retconning stuff. But then later on, I was like, well, I guess the retcon makes sense. Snubble's Pokedex entry does say it's the fairy Pokemon.
Yeah, and
So
like
for it to not be-
Clefairy is named.
Right,
for it to
not be a fairy
There's a
type
lot of
is
them that were
stupid.
just normal type Pokemon. It
Yeah.
was like really boring.
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like they had to add something.
I like that they gave some variety to some of them because there are so many normal types that you just encounter throughout the games, and like none of them really stand out from one another. That much.
Fairy makes them actually like, now Clefable is actually useful. Or like Wigglytuff, which I've always really liked. I can actually use Wigglytuff and it makes sense. And,
Like those Pokemon can finally get an edge on something.
yeah, I had to get over my stupid attitude, my dummy like, I don't like this change, red country. It was like I had to push that idiot out and be like, no, it's fine.
Well, they did that
It's fine.
with like Soul Silver too, because there's a lot of Pokemon in Soul Silver, like the starting Pokemon get secondary types in Soul Silver and Heart Gold.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, I don't think that's.
No,
I'm
they
pretty sure
don't.
they do. I looked it up on the. Maybe they do now.
Let me guarantee you, they
Okay.
do not.
Well, I looked it up on the.
You do not want to challenge my Pokemon knowledge. The starter, they do, all three starters in Gen 2 do not have secondary type.
All right.
The only Pokemon that ever to be their types retconned were Magnemite.
Yeah, Magnemite and
and
Magneton
Magneton,
are the
because-
only ones.
Yeah, in Gen 1 they were electric type, and then in Gen 2 they became electric steel when the steel type was introduced.
Because nothing got changed because Dark and Steel came in at the same time, and they
Yep,
didn't
and
add
then
any Dark
there was
types.
no new types until Fairy came out.
And then they just kind of swept through and changed a bunch
And then they
of them with
changed
Fairy,
some.
yeah.
Well, they added. They changed it to Fairy or added Fairy to some, but they never like in between those times when new types were introduced. They never retconned any different types. All right, so the diamonds would function somewhat like Megastones. Well, the trailer that came out last week, that's the Z moves.
What do we know about that? Is it like a key item? Do we know anything about how
I think
we
it's
acquire
kind of
them,
just
or-
like the Mega Bracelet Stone
Okay.
thing. And for the Z moves to work, basically, you have to like learn the dance or whatever, and your Pokemon has to have a move, at least one move of that type for it to work.
And you get one per battle, right?
One per battle. It's
Okay.
basically a final smash.
Interesting.
Now, what are your thoughts on the Z moves? Because I have some thoughts on it.
I don't love it. See, Mega Evolution initially kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
But eventually,
eventually it kind of grew on me. I was like, this is interesting. It changes up some of the older Pokemon who I haven't necessarily looked at in a while. I didn't love the like fan favorites getting special treatment, like Blaziken or Charizard kind of got picked out, or
Yeah.
Lucario, of course, got a Mega Evolution. and
they started
whatnot.
to get crazier with the Mega Evolutions, and like when Ruby and Sapphire came out, I was like, Beedrill gets a Mega Evolution.
See, those are some of my favorites.
Yeah,
is like
yeah.
Beedrill. Like, when was the last time I wanted to use Beedrill? I have no idea.
Because I think they just gave Mega Evolutions to like fan favorite Pokemon, and then Pokemon that like were underused or just like didn't work very well on their own. Like, we're giving Happiny a Mega Evolution. Or not Happiny, sorry, it's Adino. I think it's the only 5th gen Pokemon to get a Mega Evolution.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, like there were some really interesting choices that second time around. I'm curious if they'll do that with the Alola forms too. But Z moves, like, I don't know. I should just wait and see how it feels when I play it, because my initial instinct is like, that seems like an unnecessary complication to things.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It might add an interesting strategic element that could well grow on me.
I'm gonna be straightforward and say I think they're stupid.
Yeah.
I think the Z moves are dumb, and it's like they're just overcomplicating things. They're trying to just like, we gotta add something new. I would have just been totally cool with just more Mega Evolutions.
Yeah.
Because I actually kind of like the Mega Evolutions.
Yeah, do we know anything about any level of continuation of that?
They haven't released anything about it.
There's they haven't mentioned it at all. And that's my fear about any additional thing like this, is that it'll either be like, basically that it'll just exist in this one game and then like just be a weird little wrinkle through the rest of the franchise where like we won't get continued interesting Mega Evolutions or whatever. But yeah, basically trying to stay on topic now. Z moves just seem like a weird, unnecessary
It seems like some
complication.
extra bullshit that's unnecessary.
It's like a couple friends of mine and I were looking at Yu-Gi-Oh cards, and like we were thinking, oh, we remember how to play this game,
But you don't.
and we don't,
because they added so much. No, that's exactly it. They added so much later on.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, there's like cross fusions and or whatever. I think cross fusions from Digimon actually. And there's like this and that, and
Yeah,
you're just like,
I watched a few episodes of Yu-Gi-Oh Zexal, and I was
Wait,
tweeting,
is that the real name of it?
Yeah.
All right, fuck that shit.
I was tweeting about it because I was like, I have no idea what's going on. And there was like, you had to establish an overlay matrix or something, and like C's summon things.
Just keep it simple.
Yeah, and a friend of mine tweeted at me who's like, I love that series because everything they're doing is 100% how the card game works. And I was like,
Really?
well, that sounds horribly overwhelming. And
That's what I'm afraid of happening.
Yeah, I'm afraid
Mega
of-
Evolution was a step that was okay. But Z moves, I think, maybe taken into that Yu-Gi-Oh.
yeah,
thing.
I just don't want things to get too complicated.
Right. Matt?
Because
I feel like it was something that somebody came up with in a board meeting. Like, what if we had them do a dance, and then it had like superpower moves, and the kids like dancing and stuff.
We gotta have them do. We gotta come
And
with
it's like,
something.
all right, we'll call them Z types.
We gotta come up with something new for this game.
Yeah,
And
it feels tacked on.
where the Mega
Yeah.
Evolution seemed like, after almost 20 years, Mega Evolutions kind of made sense
Yeah,
because it was like a way to like freshen up like old Pokemon, didn't make like Ampharos. Who used an Ampharos besides me? Because I like electric types. Like, we're making Ampharos interesting. It doesn't look good, but it's part Dragon type now. And I was
See-
like, okay, that's cool.
here's a question now that I'm thinking about it. Have we seen any Mega Evolution in any of the promotional stuff
No,
for Sun and Moon?
not for these new ones.
not
Do
for
you-
any of the new Pokemon, but I'm pretty sure they showed Mega Evolution of previous Pokemon that had them in like the very first trailers that were coming out.
I don't think I saw any.
Because I'm wondering now if there's any chance that it won't even be there.
That would suck.
Because it would be...
Actually, that'd be kind of dumb.
yeah, like I'm wondering, because a little part of me is like okay with that if then each generation has its own little additional
but then that
wrinkle
makes
and
like
whatnot.
some like, say you bred a certain Pokemon
Yeah.
in Gen 6 specifically for it to be used as a Mega
Which I
Evolution.
have done, yeah.
I'm sure you have like a Kangaskhan or something that you use as a Mega
I have an
Evolution.
entire team that was made for Mega evolving.
Right, then your whole thing is pointless in
Yeah.
the new generation, which would suck. I don't like, it's like adding stuff and moving forward is fine, but we, like you kind of said, we don't want to move backwards and forget about it.
But then, like, if they keep adding little things each generation, I might be kind of okay with them leaving out the previous ones, just so we don't reach a Yu-Gi-Oh point where it's like oversaturated with complications. And
Right.
but I don't know. This is all
the only real new things we have are Mega Evolutions and these Z moves.
yeah.
So as long as we don't get too crazy, but let's move on to, also on this list it says new monsters would take after a dolphin, a snowman, a sea cucumber, and there would be a football monkey, which I think they just mean is like a monkey that kind of resembles a football player. Which, okay, but this, we do have a sea cucumber.
Yeah, we've seen the sea cucumber.
That just came out today, officially.
Creeps me out a little bit.
And I cannot pronounce his name because I think they just kept the Japanese name for it.
You know what would be so funny if this was all fake and just shit that somebody made up and happened to just get like a bunch of it.
And because they did get a bunch of it right. We're not done with this list yet. The sea cucumber dude is Pukamuku?
Pukamuku? I think it's supposed to sound like puke because it's like
this is a weird looking
blasting
Pokemon.
out its intestines.
I hope it has an evolved form. Well, its special ability is called Innards Out.
Yeah, and that's what that fist is that comes out. That's
because that's what sea cucumbers do. They jizz all over. They like shoot out like weird white stuff. Have you seen that before?
I have not.
It's basically it's like an ejaculating water dick.
That sounds fascinating.
It's crazy. But yeah, this little sea cucumber duder. Yeah, it just says it is a sea cucumber that spits out its fist-like organ. Its ability is a new one named Innards Out. It is a pure water type. We don't even know what its ability does.
Yeah. Yeah,
We've got a few new abilities that we don't know what the hell
it seemed like it hurt its opponent when it fainted. But I'm trying to remember if I'm remembering that correctly from the trailer. I might be totally wrong about that.
Maybe that's only when it faints it does like extra damage.
But then a variation on that already exists.
Like rough skin, if you do like a physical attack that does damage too.
But then there's also, I'm blanking on it. It's what's it called? Driftblim has Aftermath.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm curious, and it's not like there's no overlap in Pokemon abilities already, but like, it seems like an odd choice to have that.
Yeah, there are some overlaps.
Yeah. So I'm really curious to see more detail about that one, and yeah, I'd be interested to see an evolved form because.
Where do you go with that?
Yeah, like how much more stuff could it spit out? Like.
Did you have any strong feelings on the sea cucumber?
I don't know. A lot of the Pokemon that they're showing, it's either like, that's really cool, or
That was a lot of... Mostly my thoughts are like meh on a lot of the new Pokemon.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's just continue with this list before we start getting into the stuff we all really, really want to talk about. Let's be honest. So then it says after that, different areas in the game would have special strong Pokemon known as Overlords. Well, we learned in the trailer that came out last week... Totem Pokemon, which are extra strong. They're basically boss Pokemon that have like stronger like stats and can call on basically wild Pokemon like that are in like their pack or whatever to assist them in battle.
Yeah, have we seen any more than just that one?
Apparently, is it Flamantis? Is one of the there's a Flamantis that's a totem Pokemon as well.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, it seems like they're nailing a lot of stuff with this leak.
Yeah.
Because they just have it in like quotes as Overlords. It's probably like a translation thing or whatever.
Yeah, just sort of the basic idea.
Yeah. I have no idea what these totem Pokemon are going to be like. Can you catch them? Do you just have to... are they like boss Pokemon like the Marowak in Pokemon Tower that you just have to defeat in order to move forward that you can't catch? We have no idea. It's uncharted territory with this shit. Do you have anything about totem Pokemon?
I have no idea because we don't know enough about it. It could just be like another boss battle, kind of like another... Like, I assume there's going to be 4 of them, one for each island.
Yeah.
I imagine.
Another 4, like, gyms, essentially. Or not necessarily gyms, but, like, gym-type battles.
It showed, like, Gumshoes as a totem Pokemon. I was like, you're going to have the rat of this region be a totem Pokemon?
Maybe it's random. Maybe it's, like, different per cartridge, per game.
Who knows? But then the last thing on here says there would be a fire poison type revealed, which was weeks ago. Yeah. We got Salandit, the fire poison lizard dude. So they nailed like this. Let's see, they got the no traditional. I'm gonna give them the no traditional gems.
Yeah.
They got the diamonds that would be used like Mega Stones. They got the sea cucumber, part of that one. They got the totem Pokemon, and they got the fire poison type. So the only one we don't officially know that they got was the starters, which, based on the rest of these, I'm going to guess that these concept starters are probably legit.
Yeah, and then the snowman and the
snowman,
the football monkey,
right, and a dolphin.
Yeah, but I'm guessing that I feel like this is pretty legit. It seems like.
Were there any other? I got one. There are a few other new Pokemon released recently, but I don't know if we care about any of them that we really want to talk about.
To be honest, no. I'm more interested in the Alola forms of Pokemon that we already have.
We'll get into the Alola forms, but I just want to talk about some new Pokemon first.
The one that I'm
is probably the only one any of us care about.
Which one?
Wishy-Washy?
Okay, so I'm really interested in that one. I was going to talk about Mimikyu.
Oh, yeah.
Because first...
It's terrifying.
It's like I really dig the concept of it. It's an interesting choice. But I also just don't want it to look like Pikachu all the time.
Have different forms.
Yeah, I want different forms.
It could be like a Rotom where it has like different forms.
Yeah, exactly. I would really like for it to like imitate different Pokemon, even if it's just a cosmetic thing, like just because that'd be kind of interesting.
I think the Pikachu thing is also like comes off in battle. Like I think it changes form in battle.
Okay, interesting.
But I'm not entirely sure on that. That might just be my brain making that up.
But yeah, otherwise, Wishy-Washy. Okay, so
let's go into Wishy-Washy because this is interesting name. It's fine. I don't really care.
See, I read the name before I saw the Pokemon, and I just assumed it was a washing machine.
But we already have one.
Yeah, that was the thing. I just like assumed it was a washing machine, and then I was like getting upset about that thing that I made up. I was like, oh man, another washing machine? What the hell, Pokemon?
On that note, I don't mean to like sidetrack, but people that get upset about inanimate object Pokemon, I don't understand because I actually like inanimate object Pokemon.
It's dumb. It's all dumb.
It's not dumb.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's all...
But like, if you think about it, like, okay, a bunch of alien monsters like came to this planet. And they started taking form of things that, because a lot of these Pokemon are based off animals. They would take the form of like things that they noticed. Yeah, there's gonna be a Pokemon that looks like a sandcastle, maybe.
And like the things that people get upset about, they blame it on the new Pokemon. They're like, I don't like Pokemon anymore because so many of them are dumb. They got that dumb garbage bag Pokemon, which is like one of my favorites personally.
Trubbish is
I love Trubbish.
Adorable.
But then if you go back and look at the original Pokemon, one of them is a Pokeball with eyes. That's not even based on a real thing. That's based on a made-up thing within their game that then they put eyes on.
Magnemite is a magnet and screws. That's all it is.
There's a seal that's named Seal. That's like it's always been absurd. It's always been ridiculous.
It's just people like the new stuff isn't cool. I like hipsters in quotation.
Yeah, and like
the old stuff was better.
You're gonna have an attachment to what you grew up with, and that's fine. But like, yeah, it bugs me when people write off entire categories of things like that, like inanimate objects. Like they're just like, oh, fucking sandcastle Pokemon. That's stupid.
You got a Pokemon based off a mime.
Yeah.
Named Mr. Mime.
Yeah.
And it can be male or female.
They've always been insane.
Mr. Mime's a very gender progressive Pokemon, I'd say.
I feel like
same with Jinx.
Jinx and Machamp is like another one.
Because Machamp and Machoke can be female too. God, and Pokemon just breaking gender barriers.
Breaking through that glass
20 years. But back to Wishy-Washy. We got a little sidetracked with that. This Pokemon is fucking weird.
Yeah, it says that once it reaches a certain level, it can form a school, right?
Yeah, because it's from its ability. But then schooling.
And it's within one battle we see it go from a single one to a school back to a single one. And I'm really curious what triggers that.
Maybe the school is temporary at the beginning of the battle, and then like as it like maybe loses HP, it goes back. But not many Pokemon like that's like the reverse of a lot of other abilities. Yeah. Pokemon are stronger the less HP they have.
So yeah, in the trailer we see it get knocked out as a single fish. And then we see it get hit, and that triggers its ability, and it becomes a school, and then it gets hit again, and then it goes back to being a single one? And so I don't know, like...
Yeah, because that's what it... I'm reading this article from Pokemon Beach that kind of has all this stuff grouped together from the leaks and the trailer that came out today. It says that when Wishiwashi's HP is too low, it reverts back to its solo form.
Okay.
So it is kind of a reverse thing where it starts off as the big form and then goes back to...
It's like Darmanitan.
Darmanitan, yeah. That has that special ability where it's a psychic type at the beginning, then it gets hit and it goes back, it like wakes up basically.
Yeah, it drops back into its sort of like little default single fish form when it's weakened.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really interested to see like how that'll influence its stats, whether it's just way stronger or, you know, whether it gets way slower when there's a bunch of them, or what the schooling ability does.
Did you want to talk about this little mushroom duber? Or grass fairy? Did you see this one?
I did not. Actually, I probably did.
It's not really exciting. Yeah. I'm sure it's got a cool, like, fine... It looks like it's part of a 3-stage evolution or something. Maybe 2, but probably evolves into some kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm curious what'll come of that one.
We didn't talk about, like, riding Pokemon.
Oh, yeah.
That was
something like they're expanding from Gen 6.
Yeah, I wonder... Because that was a thing that was shown in promotional stuff for X and Y, and, like, I got
wasn't
excited
X and Y
about,
a little bit, but only, like, certain spots. And
so I'm curious if it'll be more of a thing.
It's interesting because some people are speculating that they might finally be getting rid of HMs. Or, like, their function anyway outside of battle.
Interesting.
So you don't have to have, like, a slave anymore. Because do you play Mega Ruby Alpha Sapphire? How you can call on Latios or Latios to fly around?
Yeah, you don't necessarily need a flyer in your team.
They're wondering
at all
if
times.
something like this is happening.
That would be awesome,
interesting.
Because it sucks a lot of times when it's like, okay, I have this Pokemon with me all the time because it just has all of, or like a majority of the HMs that I'm going to need.
I never had a problem with HMs because it kind of sucks, but it's also part of the strategy of the game.
Yeah.
But like certain ones, like Flash especially, it's like I'm never going to teach a Pokemon Flash outside of...
I got to use Defog this one time.
Yeah, Defog pissed me off.
That was so dumb.
But I like there being a level of implementation of... Like, one of the things that I always liked as a kid was the idea of, you know, these Pokemon, they fight each other, but they also can help you out with stuff in the real world. Like, your Charmander can help you start your campfire, you know? Like, just that basic idea of having these friends with you helps you do stuff in your regular everyday life. And I like how HMs serve that purpose. And riding them could do exactly that. Just really
like
give you that
if
little...
you had a Mudsdale... Such a dumb name for an ugly Pokemon. It's a mud horse. Ugh.
I like having more equine ones, though. I dig that design.
Yeah, a horse is fine, but a mud horse? Okay, whatever. Sorry, but if you did have one in real life, you'd probably ride it like a horse. You know?
And
it would possibly make sense.
Well, like in the show, they rode Ponyta. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah, and you've seen Ash fly around on Charizard before.
And if they implement it, like in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, you can ride a Sharpedo.
Yes, if it's using Surf, it looks like Sharpedo.
Yeah.
Or if you're on Lapras, it looks like Lapras. Or if you're on Wailmer, it looks like Wailmer.
Yeah, but like I would love for that to be more widely implemented, because one of my favorite things about Heart Gold and Soul Silver is Pokemon following you around.
The fact that they got rid of that made me so sad.
And you know,
when Gen 5 came, I was like, Heart Gold and Soul Silver are my number one Pokemon games.
Yeah.
My favorite. The colors look great. It's a beautiful looking game. The Pokemon walking you around. It also takes place in Johto, so that's a plus. Like, it's just, they're my favorite Pokemon games, hands down.
So yeah, like my favorite thing about that is probably just the Pokemon following you around, and I think that it's just a nice little thing. It doesn't add anything to the gameplay. It doesn't alter the way that you're really experiencing.
I think
most
that's
of
what most fans like, are little things like that.
Yeah,
not these Z moves and shit. We like Pokemon following us around.
And so if I'm able to ride like most of the Pokemon I have with me, and I get to be like, oh yeah, there's my dude, and he's the guy I was in all these battles with, and he's my friend, and I get to see myself on his back, and my character is dressed the way I want him to be dressed. It's like, look at me, I'm there with my buds.
You can feel closer to being like, this is my real life Pokemon.
Yeah, it's just little fun bonding stuff that like I would really like if it's implemented to a degree that you're going to be able to ride whatever Pokemon you want, and you'll be able to see your guy there.
Right.
So yeah, if they do that, I'm interested in riding. Otherwise, I'm just like, it doesn't. I kind of forgot it was even announced, honestly.
Yeah. There were a lot of other new Pokemon released that I can't remember because they're like the electric bugs, which looks just like the
little tiny one,
the bug type of the region.
Yeah.
There was the bird that was different depending on what.
Oh yeah, the bird that was
the
different type depending on its like
bird.
dance style or whatever. Which, fine, it's okay. Like
I like the. Like I'm sad that Sawsbuck doesn't change form anymore, and I like.
Oh yeah, it doesn't because the seasons got taken out of Gen 5.
Yeah, like I like little things like that.
So what does it look like in Gen 6? Because I never really cared about Sawsbuck.
I don't know if there's a place you can catch one. But
you can trade it over from Gen 5 to Gen 6.
Yeah, the one I transferred just has never changed form. It just
looks like the form it was in.
Yeah. And so I like little things like that are kind of fun. Like the bird, I'm interested to see how big a difference it makes which one you catch. And
I think it can actually change its form.
Well, I think it changes type, doesn't it?
It changes type too, but it can change depending on like what island you catch it on and what island you bring it to. I think there's some kind of flower that allow it to change form.
Interesting. Okay.
But it's kind of like Rotom. Rotom originally went in Platinum when they introduced the changing forms of Rotom depending on which appliance it took over. Its type didn't change, but then in Gen 5 they made it so its type did change.
Which I'm so glad about. Yeah, are there any other the new Pokemon that you guys have?
I haven't really been interested in a lot of the new ones they've shown. I thought a lot of the new ones they've shown seemed kind of boring to me.
I'm intrigued by this sandcastle.
Except the sandcastle. Because that looks cool.
Yeah.
Actually, here, let me pull up. I'm going to pull up another thing so I can see the list of new Pokemon. Just got to go to Cerebi here. Because they have a list of just new Pokemon. That'll make it easy.
But yeah, a lot of the ones we've seen are
kind of dull.
Pretty familiar, ones where it's like, okay, I see this is the bug, the 3-form bug type of the region, and this is what we're gonna catch early on, and these are, kind of the same standard roles that are played by Rattatas.
I don't think we ever talked about Rockruff and Kamala because they look really cool. Mm-hmm. Like those look like the most like Pokemon, I think, of a lot of these new Pokemon that have come out. That in what is it, Pecky Peck?
Yeah.
I think that's a cool bird. Basically like a little woodpecker.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the bug guys look fine. Drampa looks stupid.
Drampa.
I hate Bruxish. I wish it would burn in a fire.
Bruxish is I'm intrigued by it, but I'm not into the design so much.
Cutiefly looks Cutiefly looks lazy. It either looks to me Cutiefly looks lazy or designed by a 3-year-old. I know I'm being like overly critical, but I just wish for like getting these games excited because I mean they've done their job on like we'll get to the Alolan forms because it's like the biggest thing of like getting people pumped, but I wish they would show like new Pokemon that would get people really excited. Mm-hmm. There just hasn't really been any like new Pokemon they've shown that have like Togedemaru. It's fine. It's the Pikachu of the region.
Yeah, I have no strong feelings about it.
Every region
it's
has
another
a Pikachu.
cute electric rodent. Like, it's cool, whatever.
I kind of like Beware. I hate his name.
It looks like straight out of a kid's cartoon.
Well, it kind of looks like what is that thing that Hot Topic kids like, Gloomy Bear? Whatever. It kind of looks like that.
Yeah,
because it's supposed to be like
it's another creepy one, right?
Yeah, he has like Herculean strength that'll kill you.
Yeah.
And they showed his pre-evolved form too, but that they didn't put in the trailer. But he was in a Korokoro. Mimikyu is actually a really cool concept. Wimpod and Bugwater, who cares? Bunsweet, I think is how you say his name. It's just some kind of grass type little bugger. Comfey, it's a lay. That's all it is. It's a lay. It's a fairy type. It's a lay. You got Mudbray and Mudsdale, like
Clydesdale, the horse.
it's like who cares?
I'm into the design. I like the way he looks.
He's not so bad. Miniar, it's like it's a meteor.
Oh, that's another one that has like a bunch of different types though, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the core is a different color, I think.
But doesn't it affect like?
But not the type.
Okay, I thought it affected.
It's just a rock flying. That's his type. Flamantis and Lurantis actually look like kind of interesting grass types. What is it? Is it Oricoro? That is the dancing bird.
Mm-hmm. The dancing bird.
But the sandcastles are like the coolest of the new ones.
Yeah, I'm interested in those ones. I'm interested in all of them, but those are some of the most intriguing designs. Like I feel like the Sandcastle guy and Wishy Washy are probably like the most interesting designs to me. And I like and Mudsdale too. Just aesthetically, I find them intriguing.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is what we've all been waiting for. We gotta talk about these Alolan forms. Before we even get into like specific Pokemon, do you think this is a cool idea? I love it.
Yeah.
I do, because this is how evolution like works in real life.
Mm-hmm.
They develop, over time because of mutations, whatever like wins out based on their environment. They develop this way. I think it's a really cool concept to introduce into the game. It's interesting that you would have a Sandshrew. That's an ice type because it's called Sandshrew.
Mm-hmm.
But it's whatever. That's like such a minor fucking thing. I think it's really cool and really interesting, and it's a cool way. It's interesting, like new spin on it. It's kind of like developing the world a little bit more.
Yeah, and it's an idea that they've touched on before with like Shellos and Gastrodon. They're different areas kind of evolve in different ways and become different things. So I'm intrigued by it. And one of my favorite things, which I don't even know if I believe is intentional, is have you guys seen the piece of promotional art from the Jungle
from 1997?
Yeah, with the
long Executor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. And I don't know if it's on purpose, but it just makes it feel like the whole thing is more grounded.
It's actually kind of canon because its Pokedex says it really thrives in tropical temperatures.
Yeah, it thrives. It's from the tropics and it thrives and grows in warm sunlight and like...
this makes sense. The dragon typing I don't understand, but I'm fine with.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Because who cares?
But yeah, like the...
Dragon type's the best, so...
That idea that like...
Electric type's the best, but that's fine.
That idea that like the Alola Executor is its truest form. Like that's an Executor really thriving.
I mean, he's 35 feet tall. That is a thriving ass Executor.
Yeah, I kind of love that idea that like they're just like, yep, this is how like the concept that this is how it's always been and that we're just finding out now is kind of fun and interesting to me.
I think it's really cool because it's kind of like how you said, like you're interested in Pokemon breeding and how like the world shows so much more than like the video games ever showed. Mm-hmm. And we're almost kind of getting where like the video games are kind of expanding to be kind of more realistic where, yeah, you can ride Pokemon. Pokemon have different variations depending on where they're from. They develop differently. Where like, I think part of their canon or whatever is that Vulpix were brought to Alola region and they ended up like, basically moving out to like the icy areas to get away from the Pokemon that have naturally inhabited the area, and they ended up developing as an ice type because of this new terrain or whatever that they were a part of.
Yeah, basically, if you just give me a bunch of stories about why this thing changed in this way,
you are fine with that.
I'm into it. Like I'll read fake, right. I'll read pretend evolutionary stories forever.
Like Alolan Meowth. It's a dark type. It's purple. Got kind of an attitude. Well, the story behind that is the rich, the Alolan royal family specifically bred Meowth to become like this. And with selective breeding, which is how a lot of like our house pets and everything.
Oh yeah, dogs and cats are the way they are for that exact reason.
Exactly.
And I kind of love that like reflecting of reality.
It's real evolution. like Alolan Marowak. It's a fire ghost type. It developed that way to fend off natural predators in the Alola region. Like, that is how evolution works, in a sense. I mean, it's more complicated than that.
And
but it's a really basic form of it.
Yeah, with like the simplicity of every Pokemon is one or two types. Like, there's not a ton of room for all the little details of all the changes that would have occurred to cause this. But if you just tell me like, yeah, this one grew this way, I'm fine with it. I'll accept that.
Yeah.
What I'm curious about is if there's any shifting between ones that are already one form or another.
I would doubt it, because I would think it has to be caught in this area for it to be this way.
That's my guess
because
too.
Otherwise, why would it grow this way?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
But yeah, there have been so many different forms of Pokemon throughout the generations, and so many different ways that they change or don't change, and so I'm not sure, if it'll be one or the other. I'm guessing they kind of stay as they are, but it seems like, Pikachu evolves into
right.
Alola Raichu.
I was gonna talk about that, because for there to be like an Alola Raichu, you'd think there'd have to be an Alolan Pikachu.
But it doesn't look like there is.
Maybe there is, though, and they just haven't shown it to us yet. Because to have a Pikachu just suddenly evolve into an Alolan Raichu would be kind of weird. I mean, it's not unheard of, because there are Pokemon that evolve only into certain Pokemon based on where they are leveled up.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think we see. I guess I don't think we see it evolve in the trailer, but
no.
we see a regular Pikachu and then an Alola Raichu. And so that felt like an implication to me.
But like Marowak because Marowak's typing is so drastically different.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you would have a regular Cubone evolve into an Alolan Marowak.
But see, they've already shown us Alola Vulpix and Alola
Ninetales. They showed, and they also showed Alola Sandslash and Alola Ninetales. They showed them at the same time.
Yeah, so I'm curious why they wouldn't show us the basic forms of these Alola ones.
Right, it does seem strange.
Yeah, so I feel like there
might be a
marketing.
It might just be part of their weird marketing.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they haven't made weird promotional
because
choices
if they have an Alolan Meowth, why would it just evolve into a regular old ass Persian?
That's a good. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
I'm curious whether there will be like branched evolution, basically, where it'll evolve into one form or another,
depending on where it is.
Yeah. Because then in future games, is it going to be like the Glaceon and Leafeon evolutions, where they just have to install a place in every region where it can evolve into an Alola Raichu then, or
right,
where
or like
how they'll handle
you can
that.
only get this Raichu if you catch it in this region.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how that changes things.
Do you guys have any of this list of Alola Pokemon? Do you have any favorites?
Executor.
I think everyone's really liking Marowak.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he looks pretty badass.
Also, like it kind of reminds me of like Hawaiian, like the I forget what the name is.
Like
for it.
the fire dancers.
Yeah. I like Alolan Raichu a lot because it's surfing on its tail, and even has a new ability called Surge Surfer, which ups it. What does it say?
It doubles its.
It doubles its speed when that
when electric terrain is in use.
Yes, yeah,
That's
which is interesting. People were hating on Alolan Meowth, but
I like it.
Kind of like it. It's interesting. It's cool. It's a dark type.
Yeah, and it looks like looking at it, I believe it was bred by a king to be like regal.
Yeah.
Which is already sort of Meowth's deal. But I like that
it makes me think that a Alolan Persian will look really fucking cool.
Yeah, it looks even more like snooty and sassy.
Yeah, its eyes are kind of like.
Yeah, just looks disinterested in you. It's just like, I don't care what you're saying to me.
Everyone was joking about Alolan Executor, but like you said, you've got a region based around Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
You have a Pokemon already that's based off a palm tree. Yeah, of course. You're gonna fucking do this. Like,
Yeah.
it's stupid not to.
I love that one. It's like, it looks ridiculous, but they all look ridiculous. Executor is already ridiculous. Its little tail head is.
You know, like, it's got like a little dumb smiley
Yeah,
face.
yeah. You had to draw the short straw to be that head.
It's got like almost like a Rick and Morty type face with like the dumb little like mouth. I think Sandslash and Sandshrew and Ninetales and Vulpix are pretty cool.
Yeah, I like the designs. I like Sandshrews' little rounded shell body.
Yeah, it
It's
almost
more
looks a
more of a
igloo,
little
like-
ice ball than a sand ball.
Ice Steel is a cool combination. I don't really think there are any
Oh
Pokemon
yeah,
that are that combo.
is that what Sandslash is?
Sandshrew and Sandslash are both that.
Oh, I don't think I caught that before. That's really interesting.
But I don't know of any Pokemon off the top of my head that are Ice and Steel.
Yeah, I can't come up with any. Now I'm gonna realize there are 7 later, and I'm gonna feel really dumb. But
Right.
yeah, what are there any Pokemon in particular that you would really want to see an Alola form of?
That's tough. We were talking earlier. They're dumb if they don't do an Alola Blossom
Yeah, yeah.
or
they
like
could-
an Alola Oddish, Vileplume.
They
Alola
could get
that
some
line.
really cool grass types.
Right. But you also said you don't want there to just be Alola forms of Gen 1 Pokemon.
Yeah,
'Cause so
I'm-
far all of these are Gen 1.
I'm really hoping they expand into the newer Pokemon some, because I like that they're, mixing up some of the older ones, but I really want, because it's still been, several years since I've looked at a lot of 3rd gen Pokemon or
Oh, I would
4th gen
kill
ones.
for a bunch of 3rd gen Pokemon because it's like my favorite gen.
Me too.
It was like the first one that really introduced like really different terrain and a bunch of like really varied Pokemon.
And like just the advent of double battles felt like such a big exciting thing when I was
Yeah.
playing through Sapphire the first time.
Let's make myself yawn. I'm trying to think of some Pokemon I'd like to see Alolan forms of. Maybe like in Alolan, like maybe like Butterfree or Beautifly,
Ooh, yeah. Those
or
would be cool.
an Alolan Sunflora, because that's a Pokemon that could look really different. It could even be like maybe it's a Grass Fire type because of the tropical setting, and it's already a sunflower. It could maybe have some kind of weird change.
I would be really interested to see. The ones I immediately thought of were like the big bulky ones, like not Grovyle. Oh god, now I'm blanking on its name. What does Grotle evolve into? What's happening to me?
Torterra?
Torterra. I immediately thought of Torterra, like covered
like
in
a
like
different-
tropical stuff.
Different
and,
tree
like,
on its back, and
yeah,
like a palm
exactly.
tree.
And even like Venusaur, even though that's another 1st gen one, like they could do something a little more exotic with, and like Avalugg for some reason I was like,
Oh, because it's just a big glacier.
yeah, it could be
knows?
something totally different. I don't know.
I think this gives them the opportunity though to like, we like this design and like we like this Pokemon, but we want to change it entirely. It gives them a chance to play
A
with
new
it.
life, kind
Yeah.
of like what we said Mega Evolutions did last gen.
And sort of like, I feel like there's a fair amount of repetition every generation. There's a predictable sort of set of Pokemon, especially early on in the game, that you're going to encounter. And so I like that they're sort of able to reuse some old stuff without just creating a Pokemon that's boring. Without just creating like, oh yeah, that's just like a weird Ninetales. Like,
Yeah.
it is a Ninetales. It's just different. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it sort of
it's
allows
the same
for,
Pokemon, but actually different. Like,
yeah, it allows for some fresh takes on some ideas we've already seen without.
yeah. It's almost kind of like how, oh yeah, that's a dog, but then you like say you put like a Chihuahua next to like German Shepherd or whatever. They're completely different dogs. They're still dogs, but like they.
You got
totally-
a whole range of things to interpret
Exactly,
there.
and
yeah.
that's kind of like what this is. They're
Yeah,
they're like subsets of a larger species.
We can add secondary types. We can change types. We can make them taller or shorter. We can.
Like Ninetales, originally a fire type, now an ice fairy. Like that's So, or like Marowak, a ground type, now Fire Ghost. They're just going fucking nuts.
Just trying stuff.
Yeah.
Well, no, I really hope with this generation you don't start and the first Pokemon that you see are normal bird type and then a couple bugs.
Well, no, I mean, if you look at the new Pokemon, you got Pecky Pack and the Charge Bug.
I really hope those are not like the first area and then the first gym or whatever leader is like a ground or rock type.
Well, they didn't show a ground or rock type. They showed grass, fire, water.
I know, but what I'm saying is like the first gym leader, almost always, at least up until when I stopped playing.
Right. I mean, you're gonna get Young Goose is the Rattata of this. You've got Pecky Peck is the bird. The little electric buggers are the bug types. It's just staples because you've got to have some little easy dudes to catch at the beginning of the game.
And I have always wondered how people who got into Pokemon, like just people, 10 years younger than me, how they react to those Pokemon every time, if they feel the same way I do about them, where I'm like, oh, it's, Pat Rat. I've seen 5 incarnations of this before. But, like, if you're a kid playing that game for the first time, or even just the second time, even if you started in 5th gen.
And that's why they exist.
Yeah.
It's because you have to they keep some things the same for, like, these kids. And
it's still sort of that real simple entree into, like, oh, this is a Pokemon that looks like something I know, and I understand what it's doing.
There are kids that didn't catch Rattata. They caught Bidoof. That was their Rattata. Bidoof and Bibarel was their Raticate. And Staraptor was their Pidgeot. Like, that's just how it was for them. I don't really have a problem with it.
I just wish they would change it. It would be cool if they changed it up.
Yeah.
It's not like game breaking if they don't, but it'd be like, oh, that'd be really sweet if these weren't the first 15 Pokemon you encounter.
Right. Am I really missing anything? I feel like we covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I feel like we mostly talked about all the stuff we've seen. And, as much as I want to speculate on, like, what could this be? What could they do with this? That doesn't really provide a ton of value other than just, like, interesting theories.
Pure speculation.
I do want to talk briefly about the look of Team Skull.
Oh, yeah, we didn't really talk about Team Skull very much. First of all, the names... I'm going to just be honest and not sugarcoat it. Team Skull is stupid. Everything about them looks stupid. Their design looks stupid. Their name looks stupid.
I don't feel any more negatively toward them than I do any other team, really.
Same with me. I feel like it's just as bad as it's always been.
I mean, I think they just started running out of ideas for the evil team. Team Rocket, yeah, they're like crime bosses, whatever. Magma and Aqua, those made sense to me because they're eco-terrorists. Started to get into Team Galactic. Okay, little out there. Team Plasma. First of all, Plasma, where the hell did that even come from?
Yeah, that name always
has nothing to
me.
do with their like motives or anything.
I dug the rationale and like the interesting sort of conflict in 5th gen with them.
Yeah.
But like
they were led under false pretenses, kinda.
But it's also like I feel like it's not really followed through on.
Not very well.
Yeah. And that's sort of how I feel about a lot of the story of Pokemon games is like, as much stuff as they can put in there about like, this is why they're bad guys. They're trying to destroy the world or free all the Pokemon or kill all the Pokemon or whatever. It like never feels distinctive to me, really.
I think that's why I kind of like Team Rocket is their motives weren't as grand as a lot of they were later on, where they're just like, we're just in it for the money. We're just here to steal your Pokemon and steal your wallet.
And do we know
just criminals?
Yeah. Do we know anything about Skull's motivation?
I don't think so.
Because like
they look like goth kids from Hot Topic.
They look like goth, like hip hop, like almost like cyber goth kind of, and a little racist almost. But
can you be racist if you do it about yourself? Is that what you're implying? Like Asian culture?
No, because I'm not saying they look Asian. I'm saying it's racist against other ethnicities. When you see them talking, they're like, like almost like.
I don't know if you watch much anime, but
hip hop culture.
They do that in a lot of anime.
Dude, they're really fucking racist. It's just they don't look interesting to me.
I don't know, because to me, I haven't been interested in the villain. Like, that's not the reason I play the game. In fact, that just feels like we need something in the middle to flesh out a little bit.
Right.
So you're doing something other than just battling all the time.
We gotta cram in how you get to this legendary Pokemon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They've done that since Ruby and Sapphire. Mm-hmm. I think the teams really started for me to be like, this is dumb with Team Flare in the 6th gen. I was like, what is your point?
Man, I honestly forgot.
They were just all models. They all wore red suits or whatever, and
completely forgot they even existed.
They're models that were red suits, and their their goal was to reawaken an ancient machine, Doomsday Machine. Wait, what?
I think they watched Zoolander or something.
I was gonna say it's some kind of Zoolander type thing. So we'll see what this. Obviously, their plan has to do with the sun and the moon. I'm just throwing that out there.
It's a good guess. I don't know where you got that, but it's probably the right guess.
We're going to make it eternal day, or we're going to make it eternal night.
Depends on which version you get.
See, that
there'd be 2 teams. I did like that in Ruby and Sapphire.
I was going to say, that is the one time it felt like it really stood out to me, as the dynamic between Magma and Aqua, I feel is really interesting. I just playing through Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire reminded me of I kind of like this, that there are 2 distinct bad guys, and you got a sort of enemy of my enemy is my friend thing going, where you sort of ally yourself with one of them, and yeah, it's interesting.
That was kind of fresh.
So yeah, I'm curious how what Team Skull will be doing, because so far I have yet to have a reason to give a shit.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I think that's it for our Pokemon talk.
Do we want to mention the Pokemon game that got released yesterday?
Yeah, if you want to talk about it a little bit.
All right.
I don't really know anything about it.
I know very little about it, but I did download it. It's called Pokemon Uranium. It's a fan project, and it took the better part of 9 years for these people to make the game. And it's a fully fleshed Pokemon game. It's playable only on Windows right now, so it's in .exe instead of a ROM. And it's an entirely new region. There's I think they said over 150 new Pokemon. There's a new type, which is nuclear, and then there's a lot of stuff from the newer games, although it looks a little bit more, it looks like a mix between GBA and DS graphics. The battle is more DS or 3DS.
It looks more DS.
Mm-hmm.
See, I just want to know the deal with their the nuclear type that they created.
Yeah, I have no idea because I haven't played it yet, like I said. But it did get taken down almost immediately, and it's back up everywhere.
Oh yeah, it's not gonna last long, so you better get it.
It'll be out there because it's getting re-uploaded, not just by themselves, but by everybody else who's playing it.
Yeah, then the trick is just finding someone.
Mm-hmm. Just finding someplace that is trustworthy to get it from. Especially because it is an executable file instead of a ROM. They can pack in some nasty stuff if it's from a not. If it's from a place
they have their own wiki. Pokemon. Nuclear type is a new. This is all just fan stuff. Nuclear type is not a real type in Sun and Moon or whatever. It is water. So you guys vamp. I'm going to read this a little bit.
What are its? Do we know anything about how nuclear type interacts with the other types?
I have no idea. He's looking at the disadvantages and the advantages right now. I did see these starter Pokemon, and some of the. I was looking through the Pokedex at some of the Pokemon that they created, and for the most part, they're believable. They don't look like, oh, this is an appropriation of Pokemon. It looks like, oh, I could totally see this being in a Pokemon game.
Yeah, you'd buy them as real designs.
Yeah, and I like the idea. I understand why Nintendo and the Pokemon company don't want people doing this, but at the same time, it's like it's really cool to see somebody that's like, oh, I'm a fan of Pokemon, and I created an entire Pokemon game.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Okay, the mobile version for this site is basically any like Wikia mobile version is straight garbage.
Yeah.
So I can't quite read this very well. So I'm trying to get the desktop version.
If the Pokemon company was smart, they would hire these people instead of trying to freaking... I mean, I understand cease and desist, you don't want them... But at the same time, it's a new game, and for the most part, I mean, they do have... they are using some Pokemon sprites from older games.
So Nuclear type looks ridiculous in that it's offensively like super effective against normal, fire, fighting, water, flying, grass, poison, electric, ground, psychic, rock, ice.
Okay.
And then it takes... it only deals half damage to nuclear types. I think that's how this grid works. And then it's... it only does... It only does half damage to steel and nuclear. And defensively, it only receives half damage from nuclear type, but it receives 2 damage from normal, fire, fighting, water, flying, grass, poison, electric, ground, psychic, rock, ice.
Weird.
So
it's really strong and really weak.
Which
like
means
really
it's like they didn't...
really sensitive.
It seems to me they didn't put a whole lot of thought into this nuclear type.
Unless it's just a few Pokemon.
It is. It's like it's literally only like 3 Pokemon.
Yeah.
It looks like just a couple of different evolutionary families.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
whatever.
they created a Nucleon, which is a nuclear Eevee evolution. Looks really cool.
Oh, and then there's also corrupted nuclear type Pokemon. I'm not sure what that means, but it's like it lists a bunch of Pokemon where nuclear is their secondary type, including Ekans and Arbok and Gliscor and a handful of real ones.
Weird.
So I'm curious if that's sort of like a shadow Pokemon thing where you have to like cure them or anything like that. I don't know. This is interesting.
Interesting game. Looks...
Oh yeah, here it says nuclear Pokemon are much more aggressive than normal Pokemon and have been likened to mindless monsters that will attack anything in sight. You can catch them, but they disobey orders and may even attack their trainer.
It sounds like the shadow Pokemon from Colosseum and XD.
Regular Pokemon that are exposed to an undue amount of radiation will become corrupted and feral, turning a different color.
Huh. Sounds like an interesting game. I mean, they worked on it for 9 years.
Yeah, that's the most interesting thing about it to me is it's like clearly not like a weird rushed.
No, it's not. It's not like a lot of like ROM hacks are like we just literally took what they already had and changed something.
Yeah, we redid some skins or like there's like ROM hacks where like you can play Leaf Green, but it's based off the anime where you look like Ash. You wake up late and get Pikachu, and you catch Caterpie, and it's basically just the anime exactly how it is.
Yeah, just sort of changes that don't really add much or do anything new.
I saw there was a fire, like years ago, there was a Leaf Green Fire Red hack that was like, it's the Orange Islands. And you play as like Ash in the Orange Islands or whatever. And
there was, I think it's called Light Platinum, and I was looking at that one just because I was really interested. It's Platinum version, but done completely in the Fire Red engine for GBA.
Interesting.
So
Interesting.
I was like, huh. I wonder
Why
what
would
that would be
people
like.
want that?
I have no idea, but it sounded fascinating because it's like, why would you do that?
It's like on April Fool's Day a few years ago, Bulba News posted a story about D-makes and how they were doing black and white on the original Game Boy.
Yeah.
And it was clearly a joke, but a little part of me was like, honestly, I would play that just to know.
People would.
Just to try it.
Pokemon fans, they could put out a D-make and people would.
To me, the GBA like versions of the Pokemon games are like the best. I don't know why. I just love like the pixel graphics compared to like the DS where it's trying to be kind of like voxel.
I'm all about that.
Yeah.
Heart Gold, Soul Silver.
See,
It's the pinnacle of Pokemon for me.
the Game Boy Advance one is the one I have the most attachment to.
And
That's
maybe
the
that's
most
why.
hours I have spent
Yeah.
is on my Fire. I had almost 300 hours on my Fire Red.
Yeah, I like them all though. I don't have like a particular I don't crave one look over another or anything, but yeah, I do love like looking back at the old games and just remembering like that's what trees looked like.
You ever gone back and tried to play a Gen 1 game now?
Oh, Gen 1 is really hard.
Like you play Gen 6 and you're used to like the battle mechanics and the special abilities and knowing which types to go to which. And then you go to Gen 1 where everything was so basic and you're like, oh fuck, these games are so hard compared to everything because like you can't.
Everything is a normal
do-
type. There's like 4 Pokemon that aren't normal type in
And
that game.
like moves don't, because of the way it was programmed. Like ghost moves moves don't actually work on psychic types, and there are actually no attacking bug type moves besides like pin missile.
Well, and that's because Pokemon the types didn't affect the damage output, whereas like now they do. So if you're a fire type and you attack with a non-fire type move, there's still a slight modifier.
Things are like battle things are a lot different. There was the before. It wasn't until Gen 4 with Diamond and Pearl that they did the physical special split.
Yeah,
where
before it was just tied to type.
which was so stupid.
Which is something that I wasn't even like totally
You didn't-
conscious
you-
of
when you were playing
until-
those games.
Yeah, until
Yeah.
they changed it, and I was like, oh my god, this makes so much more sense.
Right, it adds a whole new different strategy to it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, going back and play, because I tried playing Yellow version like almost a year ago, and I was like, holy fuck, this is like so hard.
So yeah, I downloaded Blue version when they put it out for 3DS, and I've barely put any time into it because it's fun and it's nostalgic and whatever, but I'm so used to all the changes they've made and all the additional stuff that they've put in to smooth the whole process of basically every part of it.
Yeah.
It's clunkier and it's rougher than what they've got now in ways that you never realized when it was all you had,
Yeah, it's like I would pay $100 for a Gen 7 remake of like Red, Green, Blue, or whatever.
I'm really curious to see if they continue with the remakes, because now 4th gen is only one hardware generation behind where we're at now.
Right.
And so I'm curious if they'll continue trying to make remakes
True.
or what they'll do with that. Because now everything, now you can get your Pokemon onto your current game from every game.
You can move them up. You could actually, if you wanted to, move your Pokemon from Ruby and Sapphire on the Game Boy Advance all the way up to this most recent.
Yeah, you can get, if you play through, Fire Red and Leaf Green, you can get your 1st gen Pokemon into your 6th gen and now 7th gen game.
Yep.
And so the purpose of the remakes in that regard is sort of
Pointless
gone.
now.
But it's still a cash grab. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, like
people,
Ruby,
people would pay for
they didn't
it.
have to put out
Yeah.
Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire.
yeah.
People wanted it
See, that I want to get a 3DS just for that now.
for Omega Ruby Alpha
Yeah.
Sapphire.
Do
You
it.
should, because
Because
it's great.
that's my favorite. Like
You'll
that's my
love it
favorite
as a fan of
generation. Yeah.
Ruby and Sapphire. You'll love the remakes.
It was like playing through those games, it was amazing to just be back where I remembered being when I
Right.
was 12 years old, sitting
Yeah.
on the playground.
They could do Diamond and Pearl remakes, and it would sell like fucking crazy.
I'd buy it.
They could just say, "Hey, guess what? We're doing a remake of Gen 1 for the second time," and it would sell probably more than Diamond and Pearl.
I would buy it.
If they said we're remaking Red and Blue for you guys on the 3DS, they would sell so many goddamn 3DSs and so many copies of that game. Especially with everyone with the Pokemon Go nostalgia. They'd be like, that's the version that I know. I'm gonna buy that.
See, I'm really curious because Pokemon Go has already clearly died down to some degree. But
quite a bit.
Yeah. But I mean, there's
Which
still plenty
everyone
of
knew
people.
was gonna happen.
Of course. But there's still plenty of people out playing it, and like I still see gyms change hands several times in the course of a day, and I'm really interested to see if the Pokemon Go popularity continues, Because I think they're planning on implementing, newer Pokemon and adding
They're
more
gonna
stuff
have
as
to
they go.
in order to keep people still playing.
But then I'm curious if like the people who are only playing for nostalgia will keep playing then, or if that'll lose them.
Right.
And then I'm curious if people playing Pokemon Go will get more people playing Sun and Moon when they come out. If that'll like get people interested and remind them like, oh yeah, I like this franchise, and then sell more 3DSs and more games. Or if people will just be like, oh, I have to buy a special machine for that. It's not the one I already have in my pocket. No.
Right.
I think it's not like the type of person, or at least a large majority of the type of people that play Pokemon Go, they're not looking for that like an RPG,
Yeah.
which is what even though everybody's like, oh, Pokemon is baby's first RPG, but it's like it's still way deeper than at least Pokemon Go is, or most like mobile games. You can't get nearly as deep. Like you can spend hundreds of hours in Pokemon and still not like complete the game.
Yeah.
So.
And like there's just infinite things. Like if you're battling people, the entire competitive aspect, there's no completion
There's no end
to
to
that. Yeah.
Right.
I've spent hundreds and hundreds of hours breeding and training and doing stuff. The vast majority of my time in Pokemon was post Elite Four.
See, I'm one of those weird people that actually really enjoys just playing through the game. Where I've started countless new games. I've gone and just been like, I've been even thinking about recently. I'm like, I kind of want to buy X version just so I could have a new playthrough through Pokemon, because I don't want to delete my saved file I have on Y. Or I've redone Pokemon Black 2 like at least 3 times, because I really enjoy just like starting a new journey and going on over and over again. So that's I think my favorite aspect of the game. Whereas yours is like breeding and battling and
like especially because I've played through X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, and like especially once I've already played them, I'll just speed through them and then just start collecting like the legendaries in that one and trading them over to my main game, and like getting extra items and trading them over, and like the main thing is for the more competitive aspects.
I like to play through it again, and maybe this time I'm catching different Pokemon than I like. Oh yeah, last time I caught a Darmanitan and that was my fire type I used, but this time I got a Chandelure and that's my fire type. And like you just choose it. You just go down. Basically, just like it's a choose your own adventure, except you're taking all the different paths. That's what I like about the Pokemon games. So.
Have you ever done a Nuzlocke?
No.
See, I started one once and then I just gave up because like I just don't have the patience.
No, I want my Pokemon games to be fun, not make me feel sad, and so yeah.
Just sad and beaten down and discouraged.
Yeah, that's what BoJack Horseman is for. All right, we got to get out of here because it's getting kind of late. It's already like almost 10:30.
Oh wow!
So with that, you can find me everywhere online at Scotty Boy, BWO with 4 Ys, where I tweet about a bunch of random nonsense. Yup.
All right. You can find me everywhere at Hagnerd, Hagnerd.
And I'm Ben Cannon, and my Twitter is that with no vowels, so it's BNCNNN. And then my Instagram is even clunkier. You just put Instagram on the end of it, so it's Instagram.
That made me laugh so stupid.
It's truly awful. I wish I hadn't picked it.
It's great though. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
I kind of, part of me wants to change my handle because it's boy, like boy, because I did that like so many years ago.
You mean you don't want to be associated with that for your whole adult life?
But like, I also don't have a problem with it at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it's just like, well, because everyone, like most people just call me like Scotty Boy or whatever. So I'm like, well, it's fine. Because like I'm definitely not going to be able to get the Twitter handle Scotty Boy because I'm sure that's taken.
And like in an age where most of the things you're on with that are just social media, and like half of social media is like absurd and ridiculous. Like,
right,
it doesn't matter.
The only thing I have that's different is my Snapchat, which is not Scotty Boy. It's completely out of nowhere, and I don't think I'm going to say it on the podcast.
You don't want a bunch of strangers to
How stupid
follow
it is.
you and look at your story?
I actually don't even use Snapchat that much. Most of it is just me bored at work on the toilet, just skip through all the stories. But yeah, Matt, you usually
Okay. You can find us on Twitter at Fuzzy Loaf. If you're listening to this on iTunes, you can find us on YouTube by searching Fuzzy Loaf. You can subscribe, like, comment, and share with your friends and your family. If you are listening on YouTube, you can find us on iTunes by searching Fuzzy Loaf. You can subscribe there and give us ratings. I hear it's out of 5 stars, so do that. Maybe.
you don't have to give us 5 stars.
No, you have to give us 5
You
stars.
probably should.
Yeah.
You probably should, but like
If you
I
listened
also-
this far, you're kind of obligated to.
I also don't want to like compromise my integrity and be like, give us 5 stars. If it's not 5
Give us 5 stars or I'm coming for you.
if it's not 5-star worthy,
You won't be compromising your integrity
Follow your
until you
heart.
cut in with a like Squarespace ad and then later.
This episode was brought to you by Squarespace.
don't say that because it really wasn't. But like I'm
But Squarespace, if you want a spot.
a better web starts with your website.
100% willing to sell out. Like there's a point where selling out doesn't become selling out and just becomes being reasonable.
This episode was brought to you by
Being reasonable
The letter R for
just do it.
reasonable.
for people who are okay, whatever.
Reasonable.
All right,
Go to,
with that, we'll smell you later.
Go to Casper.com/loaf.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Team Skull looks just as lame as every other group of villains.
Yeah.
I'll say they look
They look
lamer.
this I feel like they're
Team
like
Rocket.
on
Team
the
Rocket
same
looks
level.
cool with
No,
the black
Team
and the
Rocket
red.
is fucking lame. I hate to break it to you, it's because
Well, are we
Yeah.
talking about video game Team Rocket or anime Team Rocket? 'Cause-
more animated Team Rocket. Because video game Team Rocket was just like the black suit.
Right,
Yeah,
which
they're
is
just
fine,
sort of
nice and simple.
nondescript mean guys.
Yeah.
Like
They started to get a little too far out there. Like you look at Team Plasma, they look real
dude,
dumb.
Team Galactic is like super weird, and yeah, Team Plasma is like there's like people dressed like knights and shit.
They're the
weird
teams
stuff.
definitely look very Japanese.
Yeah,
I like Team Rocket because it's the most simple.
just a real basic, like fairly practical outfit. And, yeah.
All right, well,
We're rolling whenever you're ready.
woo! Hey, can you hear me fine
Yeah.
this far away?